In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to export assemblies out of CoolSim and also use them in your library system. So here I've created a rack with a passive chimney. I've done it by using blocks on the sides. I've used a baffle to create the rails, and I've used a regular rack from CoolSim and sized it down a little bit and put server detail in it. So the output is over here. I have run this job, and just to show you some of the output, it does work perfectly. As you can see, passive chimney, and it's also leaking around to the front. In CoolSim 4.4 we also give you this feature. I have just hit the E key on my keyboard, and I'm able to turn off surfaces like the rear of the room and also maybe the block surfaces so that we can see what's going on inside that rack. And you can see it's leaking through the front rail, just in the side rails, just as it would in a real application, a real situation, real life situation. It's also leaking underneath the bottom. I've got a couple inches underneath that rack, and it's leaking through the rails. So let's say I wanted to now share that with someone. So let me flip it back into top view so that I can group it. Control key, left mouse down, draw a box around it, let go of your key, and you see it has selected everything that's in that assembly. I can now group it. And once I group it, I can do two things. I can export it. Let me show you that first. Export allows you to save this off, use anywhere you want. So here the navigator comes up. I'm just going to put it on my desktop. You see it's called the CSO file. So I'm going to call this a rack assembly, and I'm going to export it, save. Now it's sitting on my desktop now as a CSO file. So if I show the desktop, you'll see that I have sitting here a CSO file. That's an active chimney. That's one I've done earlier. Here's rack assembly. That's the one I just did. See, it's rackassembly.cso. So now if I were to another user, you want to share that with somebody. By the way, the size of this thing is very small, so you can just attach it to an email. It's only 53 kbytes. But let's say I'm another user, or you want to bring that into another model or something. You have it sitting out on your desktop. Just do an import object, and then you'll get a navigator, navigate to where that is, and you'll be able to get rack assembly. You do it open, and it will bring that assembly right back in. Okay. Likewise, you can also save it to your library. So here I'm going to right mouse click it and say library options, and I'm going to put it in my own user library. I'm going to put it under group because it is a group, it's an assembly. I'm going to call it rack assembly, or whatever you want. Give it a name. I'm also going to list the user as being me. I'm going to add it. So now it's in my library. Now I can use it on a future application. The model is added within group. So that's great. So now if I want it again, I just open my library system. I go from the CoolSim library to the user library. And within the user library, I look under group, and it will be listed there. And my rack assembly is listed right there. So now I can just drag and drop it into the scene. And there it is. So I can both export assemblies as well as single objects, as well as store them into my own library for future use. This is very handy because oftentimes you run into situations where you want to modify a particular object, or you want to have a crack unit, you want to put a top on it. Very easy to do now with your duct tool. So you use your duct tool and just create a top for that with a diffuser on it, and then save the whole assembly into your library system. Very easy to do. Thank you.